Time to be off with the bucket, on with the hay forks. There we have it. Thought it's actually a few spots of rain. It does look a bit windy's coming from that direction, and that does look a bit threatening. So I think I might take the bin out and empty the header box and shut the lid, just in case we get a sprinkle. I don't think we really will. For last night, we'll just have a look and see how that's going for ryegrass. Meanwhile, probably just a little bit more oil in this. I know, well, comb's right down. I know the angles are wrong, but I suspect another half a litre or so would help that out a lot. Maybe even a bit more. Also, while we're here, yeah, good. Alrighty, it's almost up to the red line now, but I'm a bit wary of putting, it's because it's not level, putting too much in. I mean, the comb is right down, but having too much in is almost as bad, because then it's sort of got to go somewhere when you retract those big cylinders. So yeah, anyway, let's have a look at this. Right, so there's still ryegrass in it, but it is a lot better looking sample than it was before. Actually, I mean, yeah, it looks the part to its best capabilities anyway. Oh yeah, so this is what I was talking about. Yeah, I think it might be getting a bit worn. So, oh well, looks like we got to order one, I think. Perhaps. It's actual real rain. Wouldn't get very wet in it, but there's dampness to it. We better get this grain out of the box and I'll finish greasing later. Unreal. A bit more rain around. Well, actually got to use the wipers, my god. There you have it. Oh, a return. Take the auger out now. Just pretty solid. That's a bit shit. We've choked the returns. Ah well, we'll just drop this. Wouldn't do much with the belt, I wouldn't have thought. It's not a lot driving it. It's a fair bit driving returns. Well, there's only one answer, we just drop it. It's sort of oh yeah, we're not going to get that out in a hurry. Look at that. Ryegrass. Just bloody ryegrass. Just ryegrass. That's all it is. Bloody ryegrass. That was sprayed and everything we could, so that's why we're getting beans next year, to try and get rid of this stuff. Seed terminator would have been good too. Unreal. Wow, isn't that good? Look at that, there's bugger all barley in it. It's just ryegrass. So it's doing a good job cleaning it, just needs to blow it a bit further. I mean, I guess it is blowing it further. A lot of it's gone out, but it's still catching some of it. Yeah, it looks like the, I was just curious, looks like the high readings on the loss monitor is just ryegrass, for the most part. The odd kernel of barley here, but not anything out of the ordinary. And I wondered about that, whether it was actually picking up the ryegrass that's getting blown out the back, which I believe is what's happening. Yeah. Alrighty. Scenic! At least this is a bit heavier, although it's not. I don't know how accurate it's measuring it. Doesn't seem to be that high on the yield monitor. Not as high as you'd think it would be. Well, about 5.5, but even creeping up now. That's more like it. Yeah, it'd have to be at least 6 here. Anyway, we're tidying it up, and getting the ryegrass out of it too, apparently. So that's kind of good. Anyway, I need all the hands for this sort of driving. Oddly warm and dramatic. Look at that. Well, we'll set up a few bins and keep going for a while. It's yeah, very mild. That tire's on the flat side too. It's not so good. New ones too from this year, so yeah, should be getting a trip back. I'll just go steady. There's still some air in it, so we'll just do that, I think. You know, many other options. Disappointing. It continues. Oh, we'll get a bit more rep tonight. Well, I might have a couple of loads for him tomorrow. That'd be the idea. Very good. It's yeah, it's cool, but it's dry tonight, and well, not as cold as the other night. Not windy either, so I think it'll reap for a little while. Moisture isn't really too bad yet, so that's good. Not sure about this yield reading. Yeah, I'm not convinced that's correct. Anyway, we'll keep it going. I mean, if it is correct, it means it just grew a lot of straw, but not as much grain as it should have. I mean, 5-ish tonne. I mean, this should be 6 tonne crop. Well, surprisingly, it's actually very mild, but it is getting tougher and a bit more moisture. But we've choked the returns again. So I think this will be our last round. It's nearly midnight, so I think we've done pretty well. That's the copper blades. Alright. Yowzers. Yeah. All those fun things. Ryegrass, brome grass, just beautiful. Just about there's some barley in here, but not a lot, not much at all. Bloody hell. Unreal. Look at that. Anyway, we'll get it all back together again. Or apart and then back together. So just to be sure, I think we'll just turn it by hand for a little bit and then we'll crank it up. That's a relief, we found it, so don't have to come back scouring the countryside for it tomorrow. I reckon only half on there, and I reckon it might have actually come off with the pressure of the pressure was put on it. I don't know. Anyway, we found it, we can weld it back. Just a bit of an experiment, because I don't want to put it under pressure again tonight with only 3 there and lose more of those clips. Because they'll be lost if I do that now. Yeah, so I took the actual cover off, and it's like I found in the beans. I mean, it's keeping it down a little bit, but I guess the only thing that'd be falling out is actually the little bit of barley that was in it. So that's kind of a bit shit. It still pumps a fair bit through. Yeah, I don't know. Funny thing on these, they're a bit undersized for, I don't understand why they're not bigger. I think they run faster and have a few more paddles, but that's basically the same size returns elevator that was on the Dominator 66, the Dominator 68S, and this is like triple the capacity, and I think some of the bigger ones still have the same returns elevator. I don't know, the really big ones might have a bigger one, but yeah, interesting choices. Alrighty, that's it. See you all in the morning. morning, out to send another load away, or first full load of barley, but this will be an interesting proposition, I imagine, because we've got the ryegrass problem, which I hope I've dealt with enough, but you just never quite know. It's surprisingly cool, so at least it's a good time for loading. But south wind. I see grain market's down another 2.5% overnight, so I think, what's that make it? Wheat will be down probably 25 to 30% since in the last month. Barley, barley's off. Yeah, solid. I think $60 since in the last 10 days. So you got harvest pressure and also international markets is caning at the moment, so that's not so good. Some forward sold, but of course you don't forward sold of course you can't forward sell everything. Yeah, not so good. And unfortunately, unlike other years, it's actually super bearish at the moment, which another one. Righty, we're unhooked, so let's go home and what we were talking about last night. We'll weld this back on, because I think if I don't, there's a risk if we block again, we might pop more of them off, and who knows, it might be the quicker option might be just to do it now. Also, we need fuel, and it's probably just as quick to go home and put it in out of the tank, so there's that as well. Alrighty, we'll see you home. Bye bye, you. Alright, so got the header home here. Just going to weld this thing back on, just a light spot. We'll just put a couple of solid tacks. Cool day, but windy. Anyway, we've while that weld's cooling, let's take a couple of rolls out to the sheep. Then we'll go back and fuel up and come out and reap. Oh, isn't that pretty? Keen, aren't you fellas? Well, you're growing. Look at that, we're out here. Oh, it's doing a good enough job. It's pretty cool now and breezy. Not the best day ever, but we'll chew off a little bit. We might even get enough rep for another load. That'd be the idea. Just chew away at it. Alright, that's it for the day. It is bloody freezing now. Unreal.